lying down on your back with your knees up and your feet flat to the floor. Have a little shuffle around to just make sure that you are comfortable, that as much of the body is in contact with the floor as you're comfortable with. So maybe just check in with the shoulders, roll the shoulders back and down. You can have your arms down by your sides. Move your hips around, a little bit of movement in the hips and the pelvis. You might want to just tilt the pelvis forwards and backwards to find a comfortable position for the pelvis, the hips and the lower back. So for some people, you'll want the lower back, the arch of the lower back flat on the floor. For some people, you might prefer to have a little arch there. There are lots of people who like to have a rolled towel or something just underneath the lumbar arch there at the lower back. So you can have your arms down by your sides, or you can have your hands resting lightly on your lower abdomen. Check in with the soles of the feet as well. So the soles of the feet are spreading into the mat. And then once you feel that the physical body is settled, then you can start to bring your awareness to your breath coming in through the nose and going out through the nose. And just noticing, first of all, how your breath is today. And then making a conscious decision to lengthen and deepen that breath. So as you lengthen and deepen the breath, noticing where that breath is traveling to in the body. So noticing where is the expansion of the inhale, where does it deflate the exhale? Is that breath predominantly up around the shoulders and the upper chest, or is it making its way down into the belly and the abdomen? And focusing on really trying to control that breath. So control the exhale in particular. So the exhale is smooth and even. The inhale comes nice and deep. You might want to sound out that breath in the back of the throat. So using a gentle ujjayi breath, just gently squeezing or closing off the upper glottis, the back of the throat, so that you can hear the sound of that breath as it comes in and as it goes out. And then the next time you take a deep inhale, we'll lift the arms up over the head, extend your legs out along the floor, giving the whole body a good stretch. And then from there, we'll hug the right knee in towards the chest. So the right knee coming in towards you. You can interlink your fingers over the knee, or you can interlink your fingers underneath that knee if you need to be careful of pressurizing that knee. Drawing in, again, having a little bit of an experiment, move around that leg, move the knee around, maybe out to the side, drawing it back in again. Drawing in on the exhale, releasing on the inhale. So following the breath with the movement, just gently, subtly. Maybe adding in at the end of that exhale as you draw the leg in a little bit closer, a gentle pelvic floor lift. A little lift in the perineum at the end of the exhale, and then inhaling and releasing. And then easing off, you can bring your right hand onto your knee and your left hand down by your side. I'm going to take that right knee around in circles. So circling around again, how big or small the circles are is completely up to you. You might want to try some smaller circles and then perhaps gradually increase that range of movement. Seeing what interesting pops, clicks, sensations arise as you take that knee around. And at some point when you feel the time is right for you, you can change the direction of those circles and bring them back the other way. And then at some point when the time is right for you, you can bring that leg back in, giving it a gentle squeeze. I'm going to lift the head up here. So as you exhale, we'll lift the head up so your chin comes towards your knee. And as you inhale, bringing the head back down to the mat. And again, as you exhale, lifting the head up, we can do this 3 times. And this 3rd time, as you exhale, you lift the head up, chin in the general direction of that knee. Hold it there. Take a couple of deep breaths. Try and relax your shoulders a little bit. Make sure you're not creating tension around your shoulders and your neck. And then easing back down, head back down towards the floor. We'll release that right leg. Take your arms up over your head. Give the whole body a good stretch. Particularly noticing the length of that right side of the right hip in particular now. And then we're going to do all of that on the left side. So bringing your left leg in. You can interlink your fingers over the knee or maybe under the knee, depending on your knee and how your knee is, depending on what's most comfortable for you. So always going for the most comfortable, the easiest option. So have a little experiment around, first of all, finding where you want to have that knee towards chest, whether you're a knee towards chest person, whether you're more of a knee to armpit type person, or somewhere in between. Just seeing how that hip feels today, seeing if there's any pressure points that you can kind of activate and squeeze into a little bit. And then thinking about the breath. So exhaling, drawing that left leg in. Inhaling, maybe easing off a little bit. Maybe using a little bit of the pelvic floor, the perineal lift as well at the end of that exhale. Inhaling to ease off. And then easing off a little bit from there, you can bring your left hand onto your knee and your right hand down by your side, and we'll take that left knee around in circles. So again, you might want to start with fairly small circles and see how that goes, perhaps gradually increasing the range of movement or not. And at some point when you feel that you've got, you've freed up a little bit of movement going in that direction, then you might find that it's time to change the direction of those circles and go back the other way. Sometimes you feel that there's like a little pop or a click that's just not quite there yet, in which case keep going in the same direction until you find that little pop or that click, whatever it might be. And then when you're ready to, you can change the direction and come back the other way. And then we're going to bring that knee back to center again, interlinking the fingers either over the knee or under the knee. and we're going to lift the head up on the exhale, and we're going to do that 3 times. So as you exhale, lifting your head up, chin in the general direction of the knee. As you inhale, bringing the head back down onto the mat. And again. And the third and final time, we're going to hold it there. So taking a couple of deep breaths, just making sure that you're not kind of hunching your shoulders up to your ears. So trying to keep the shoulders fairly relaxed and then easing back down to the mat. You can let go of that left leg, reach your arms up over your head, give the whole body a good stretch. And then from there, bringing both the knees in towards the chest. Now you can do this one leg at a time, or you can do it both legs together. You can bring your knees towards your chest and rock from side to side. So again, you might have your hands on your shins, you might have your hands underneath your knees. And from there, we're going to roll over onto one side or the other to ease your way up into a seated position. And we're going to sit with the legs out in front. So sitting with the legs out in front, and we're going to take the feet around in circles. You can take your hands behind you. So if your wrists are okay to do so, you can rest on your hands with your hands behind you. If your wrists are not so happy, you can make fists and rest on your knuckles. Or you can just sit with your hands on your legs, if that's easier. We'll change the direction of those circles if you haven't already. And then coming back to center, this time pushing out through your heels. So you might find that your heels lift off just like a maybe half an inch or something off of the floor, and then pulling the heels in, but without pointing the toes. So you can kind of spread and open your toes. Don't point your toes. It's all in the heels. So pushing the heels out and away and then pulling the heels in. So as you push your heels out and away, you'll notice you're tensing up and engaging all of the muscles around the knees and the kneecaps. And pulling the heels in. So this is really good for knee issues, for strengthening those muscles around the knees. That's it, and then pushing the heels out, just bringing the heels down towards the floor, and then we're going to spread the toes. So spreading the toes, seeing if you can see a bit of space between each of the toes. And then scrunching the toes in, closing them down. So you can do this with the breath. You can inhale and open the toes nice and wide, and you can exhale and close them all down. So awakening the soles of the feet, the arches of the feet, engaging that sense of movement in the toes. I always remember one of the first times that I went to my chiropractor, I hadn't noticed that the fourth toe on my left foot didn't move. So this is why I do this quite a lot now, just to check that my toes are all moving and I haven't got any trapped nerves anywhere that I haven't really noticed. He popped it back into place and everything's all right since then. Anyway, so opening the toes, spreading the toes a little bit, and then relaxing the feet completely. So we'll bend the knees, bringing the feet flat onto the floor with your hands on your knees. And from here, inhaling, lifting the center of the chest, looking up. And as you exhale, rolling back towards the tailbone, chin towards the chest. Inhaling, coming forwards, lifting up, looking up. And then rolling back. So you might find that there's areas of the spine that almost are, well, areas of the spine are more kind of fused than other areas. Some bits move, some bits don't move so much. Noticing here your own limitations. Being okay with that. If you find a point that feels particularly nice and you just want to stay there for a little bit, feel free to stay there and take a few deep breaths if that feels like a really nice place to be. Do enjoy it for a moment before carrying on. And then coming back up so you're sitting up nice and tall, rolling your shoulders back and down, and we're going to bring the soles of the feet together, the knees out to the side now. So hands on the knees, you don't have to bring your heels in really close, you can keep a loose diamond shape in front of you. I'm going to circle around. And circling around. So again, these circles as big or as small as is appropriate for you. And at some point when you feel the time is right for you, you can change the direction of those circles and circle back the other way. And then at some point coming back up so that you're sitting up nice and tall and just sitting however you feel comfortable. So if this is a comfortable way to sit, you're welcome to stay here. If you would rather have your legs out in front or your knees bent, or whether you want to sit cross-legged, whatever is most comfortable, we're just going to have a little think about the neck and the shoulders. So however you're comfortable, just making sure that you're sitting up nice and tall. So lengthening through the spine all the way up to the top of the head. And then from there, we're going to drop the chin down towards the chest. So again, thinking about that length in the back of the neck. And then rolling the head towards one shoulder, so ear towards one shoulder. And then back down, chin towards the chest. And ear towards the other shoulder. And chin towards chest. So ear towards one shoulder. So we're not going all the way around in a circle, we're just doing this front semicircle. Just exploring the muscles at the back of the neck as they connect the base of the skull to the shoulders. And then from there coming back, chin towards the chest. So finishing off with your chin towards your chest and then sitting up so you're looking forwards again. So this time we're going to turn the head from side to side. So we're going to inhale looking directly forwards, and then as you exhale, turning your head to one side, doesn't really matter which way you go. And then inhaling, coming back to center. Exhaling, going to the other side. Just turning from side to side. Exhale as you turn to the side. Inhale as you come back to center. And then inhaling, bring your head back to center. I'm going to take very small circles. So as if you're drawing a circle with your nose directly in front of you, and it's a really small circle. So small circle directly in front of you with your nose. If you're drawing a little circle. it's less about kind of movement and trying to find that kind of maximum movement point, and more like a little vibration, like you're sort of creating a vibration at the top of the neck and sending that vibration down through the spinal fluid, all the way down the spine to release and relax any tension that might be held. Just little tiny circles, and then at some point little tiny circles going in the other direction, so you can change the direction of those little tiny circles. But do try and keep them quite small. I always find interesting things happen in the small movements, like my ears sometimes have a little pop, or you'll find something, something going on that you might not have noticed doing the maximum range movement. And then coming back to center. We're going to make our way onto all fours now. So any which way, coming into your all fours position with your hands underneath your shoulders and your knees about hip width apart. So we'll take the right leg back, keeping the toes on the floor, extending back into that heel. And lengthening from that right heel all the way up through the top of the head. And then from there, we're going to lift that right foot off of the floor. So lifting the toes off of the floor, tucking in your belly a little bit. So you want to avoid dipping down with the lower back. So tucking a little bit in towards the belly. And we're lifting the left arm off, reaching that left arm out in front. So you're looking for a horizontal line from the left fingertips to the right heel. So left arm, right leg. Little lift in the belly. And then from there, bringing that left hand back down, we're going to step this right foot forwards to the outside of the right hand. You can take it wide, out the side, you can step it forwards and through, you can bring it halfway, and then pick it up the rest of the way. So coming up onto your fingertips here, or maybe your fists, just to give the wrists a bit of a break, we're rocking forwards and backwards. So rocking forwards and backwards. Again, if you find something interesting that you want to work with for a little while, if you just want to have a bit of a deeper stretch, you can do. You can stay there, take a few breaths. See how that feels, and then you can move on again. So being experimental. If you need a bit of extra padding underneath that back knee, you can always have a folded blanket or something, or you can double fold your mat just to protect that back knee if you need to. And then from here, we're going to find a neutral point. So the knee is over the heel, bringing the right forearm now up onto that thigh. And the left arm is going to go in backwards, moving circles. Inhaling as that arm reaches up, expanding the left lung. Exhaling as it comes down and around. You might want to have your arm straight in the elbow, or you might want to have your elbow bent. So backwards moving circles with that left arm. And then we're going to bring that left hand back down to the mat. We'll reach the right hand now up towards the ceiling. And turning the palm of that right hand so it's facing the short end of the mat and reaching over so your upper arm comes next to your ear, but not beyond it. So you're still kind of side on, you've still got a bit of a twist. The chest is still open towards kind of moving upwards rather than downwards. So you're not kind of facing down and reaching forwards. You're facing to the side or even up. You might want to even look up towards the ceiling if your neck is okay to do that. And here you have the option of tucking under your back toes and lifting off that left knee. And if you're going for that option, just making sure that your hips don't end up too high, so the hips stay fairly low. And you're looking almost for a straight line from those right fingertips all the way down to that left heel. A few nice deep breaths there. And then looking forwards, we'll bring that right hand all the way back down to the mat. Bringing your left knee down if it's not there already and stepping that right leg back to where it came from. So the same on the other side. Now we'll take the left leg back, toes on the floor, extending back into that heel. So giving the toes a really good squidge and a stretch. Getting into the little toe. And extending all the way up through the top of the head, through the crown of the head. From there, we're going to lift that left leg off of the floor. Draw in a little bit through the belly. And once you've got that stability and strength in the center of the body, you can reach your right hand forwards. Still looking down, so you're looking down towards the left hand thumb, so you've got this straight line through the neck. A neutral spine. Reaching, extending, keeping that little tuck in the belly. Then you can bring that right hand back down onto the mat. We're going to step this left foot forwards to the outside of the left hand. So again, coming up onto your fingertips or maybe your fists here and moving forwards and backwards. Moving forwards and backwards. And again, if you feel like you want to just stay in one particular place and experiment there, or just take a deep breath, you can stay there before moving on. You can really move as much or as little as is appropriate for you today. Noticing if your hamstrings are a bit tight, maybe they're a little bit tighter on this side to how they were on the other side. Paying attention to the details as you move through. And then finding that midpoint. So the knee is over the heel, bringing the left forearm up onto that thigh. So coming up about halfway, taking the right arm back and round in backwards moving circles. So this right arm, again, inhaling as you lift up and exhaling as it comes down and around. You can have your arms straight in the elbow, or you can have your elbow bent. And then we'll bring that right hand back down onto the mat. We're going to lift this left arm up towards the ceiling, so looking up towards that left hand, just to make sure that it's reaching all the way up, that you've got this idea of twisting, so your right shoulder is down, your left shoulder is up. Turning the palm of that left hand forwards and reaching over the head, so your upper arm is next to your ear but not beyond it. You're still looking either side on or up towards the ceiling. And then if you choose to, you can tuck your back toes under and lift off that back knee. Keeping the hips fairly low. It's entirely optional. A few nice deep breaths there. And then you can bring that left hand back down to the mat. You can bring your right knee back down if it's not there already, and you can step that left foot back to where it came from. So we're going to make our way up to stand now, and we're going to come through a downward facing dog. So tucking your toes under, lifting your hips up and back. Thinking about straightening the spine, forget about straightening the legs for the moment. So looking for length in the spine, looking for a feeling of openness in the chest and the armpits. And then you can try straightening one leg and then the other. So straightening one leg and then the other. If you are prone to dizziness, if you don't like being upside down, if this doesn't feel comfortable, you have two options. You can either bring your knees back down and rest on all fours, or you can walk your feet towards your hands and your hands towards your feet and make your way up into a standing position. We're going that way anyway now, so we're going to start to walk the feet towards the hands and the hands back towards the feet. So standing in that forward fold, again, if you're not comfortable being upside down, bend your knees, bring your hands onto your knees and lift your head so that you're looking forwards. Otherwise, if you're comfortable to hang in that forward bend, you can hang in that forward bend. You don't have to have your knees straight. You can always bend your knees a little bit. If you would prefer to have your knees straight, then that's fine, but either way, it's fine with me. The toes are facing forwards though, so the inside of the arches and the big toes forwards, parallel like train tracks. And then we're going to make our way up. So to make your way up, bend your knees quite deeply, push down through the feet, and we'll roll up slow and steady, one vertebra at a time, more or less. Inhaling as your head comes up last, and as you come up, rolling the shoulders back and down to come up into our standing position. There's some quite serious light issues going on here. Anyway, so we'll do a little bit of a balance before we come to our shoulder exercises. So we'll do the tree pose. No, we won't. We're going to do a variation of Natarajasana. So if you need a wall, if you need a bit of extra support, I would suggest you have a wall on one side of you, on your left side, in fact, because we're going to be balancing on the left leg and lifting the right leg up first of all. So if you need extra support, the wall's on your left side. We're just rocking forwards and backwards on the feet. Just finding your feet, finding the soles of the feet, spreading the toes. Maybe rocking a little bit side to side, so rolling from the little toe side of the feet to the big toe side of the feet. And if you do need extra support, if you're not kind of, you can always have a chair in front of you as well if you need sort of extra support. A chair, holding onto the back of a chair in front of you works quite well as well. So we're going to shift the weight onto the left foot and lift the right foot up behind. So ideally, we're taking hold of that right foot in the right hand. If you can't reach, you could use a strap or a sock, or you could take hold of the back of your trouser if that's if you can reach the back of your trouser. So first thing to consider is where your knees are. We're going to try and bring the knees together. And even just bringing the knees together, dropping that right knee down a little bit to lengthen the front of that right thigh and the front of the hip. You've got your left hand either on the wall or on your left hip. And then we're going to lift that left arm up over the head. We can turn the palm of the hand so that it's facing back behind us. So I know a lovely yoga teacher, Jax in Exeter, who calls it, what does she call it? Picking the apple. So just picking the apple, turning your thumb out to the side, palm of the hand back behind you, lengthening down through that right knee, up through the left hand. Great, and then we'll bring that left hand back down onto the hip. You can release that foot. Before it comes down to the floor, maybe just take it around in a few circles. Just to ease off that knee, circle back the other way. And then we'll bring that right foot back down to the floor, and then we're going to try the left side. So you've got your wall now on your right side, or a chair in front of you if you need a bit of extra support. So shifting your weight from one foot to the other, and then when you feel ready to, shifting into that right foot, lifting the left foot behind you, either taking hold of a trouser leg or taking hold of the foot or the ankle if you can reach. So finding your balance there, perhaps bringing your right hand onto your right hip, bringing the knees together. So already with the knees coming together, starting to think about the length in the quad muscle, the front of that left thigh. The knee pointing down towards the floor. And then lifting up through the center of the chest, reaching that right hand up, picking an apple, palm of the hand faces behind you, thumb out to the side. So that left shoulder is back and down as well. The right arm reaching up, lengthening from that right hand all the way down into the left knee. And then from there, we'll bring that right hand back down onto your hip, releasing that left leg. So again, if you can, before it comes down to the floor, take it around in a few little circles, and then circling back the other way. And then you can bring that foot down. So we're going to do our shoulder opening sequence, or shoulder balancing sequence today. It's the one without straps. So we're going to take the right arm across the body as far as it will go, keeping the right arm straight in the elbow there. So thinking already about, as you draw that arm back, you're lifting the shoulder blade, the right shoulder blade coming away from the center line of the spine. You can hook your left arm up and under to draw that arm back a little bit further. You can do all of this sitting down in a chair if you need to. Take a deep inhale there, and as you exhale, we're going to turn the head to look back over your right shoulder. So you're looking away from your arms. Taking a nice deep breath into the back of the right lung. Feeling that expansion with the inhale. Sense of release on the exhale. And then you can turn your head back to center, so you're looking forwards. We're going to release the arms there and take this right arm now up over the head, dropping your right hand down between your shoulder blades. And taking hold of this right elbow, we're going to ease it back a little bit. Maybe lift it up a little bit. So taking that right elbow up and back, back and up. Making sure here that you're not tucking your tailbone under, so bend the knees a little bit, let the hips sway back, find a comfortable position for the pelvis. And then we're going to release that right arm, bring both the arms down behind, interlink the fingers behind you, drawing the knuckles down towards the floor. Chin slightly down towards the chest here. Couple of deep breaths. And then you can release the hands, roll the shoulders back and down. And we do the same on the left side now. So the left arm coming across the body, staying straight in the elbow. So as you draw that left arm across and away, it's the shoulder blade, the left shoulder blade, that's moving away from the spine, the center line. And then once you're there, hooking it into place with your right arm. So the right arm comes up and under, Just watch out for that shoulder lifting up towards your chin, so trying to drop that left shoulder down a little bit. We're going to inhale here, and as you exhale, turning your head over that left shoulder, so looking away from your arms. Nice, deep, conscious breaths here. Breathing into the back of the left lung now. And then turning your head back to center, we'll release the arms, taking the arms up over the head. We're going to take that left hand down between the shoulder blades, take hold of that left elbow, lift it up a little bit, drawing it back and down, or back rather, not down, up and back, or back and up. Again, just making sure, just checking in with your lower back and your pelvis, making sure you've got a comfortable position for your pelvis and your lower back, that you're not tucking that tailbone under. A little softness in the knees. If you had a tail, you could definitely still wag it. And then we're going to release that left arm and that left shoulder, taking both the arms down in a big wide circle, hands down behind, interlink your fingers behind you, drawing the knuckles down towards the floor. Chin slightly down towards the chest here. And then you can lift your head up, you can release your hands, we'll roll the shoulders back and down a couple of times, going in one direction, and a couple of times going the other direction. Great, okay. So just standing with your feet about hip width apart, a little bit of bend in the knees. I'm going to swing from side to side, watching out for any people or furniture that might be nearby, or walls or anything like that. Give yourself a bit of space to let the shoulders and the arms completely relax here. Just let the arms really swing. And then making your way back to center, easing off, and easing off. So we're going to do a brief warrior one before we come back down towards the mat. So if you face now the short end of your mat and you move towards the back of your mat, excuse me, we're going to turn the left toe slightly out, about 45 degrees. Step the right foot forwards, a big bold step, stepping forwards with the right foot. With your hands on your hips, make sure that your hips are facing forwards towards the short end of the mat in the same direction as that right foot. If you're sort of a little bit side on, you can always move that right foot a little bit out to the right side, give yourself a bit more space. We're going to inhale here, lifting the center of the chest, dropping the shoulders down your back, and as you exhale, bending that right knee. And as you bend that right knee, be conscious of pushing back into that back foot. So it's like your feet are sort of spreading the mat, trying to stretch the mat. So the feet, the ankles, the legs are working quite hard here. You've got that really nice, strong base with your feet and your legs. But the upper body is kind of free to move. So we're going to take a deep inhale, reaching the arms up over the head. The palms of the hands are going to be facing towards each other, but not touching. So you've still got that freedom in the shoulders and a bit of space across the back of the shoulders. Drop the shoulders down a little bit more. Drop into the hips. That's it. And then just easing the arms back down. We'll bring the hands back onto the hips and straighten that front leg. So keeping both the legs straight in the knees, this time we're going to extend forward. So coming into almost like a forward bend here. Now you'll probably find that you get to a certain point when the back of this right leg starts to become apparent or starts to make some noise, in which case you can either stop there, stop where you're at and just be happy where you are, or you can just bend that knee and move forwards until you find that you've got a spine that is horizontal, parallel to the floor, more or less, and then you can, or maybe not, sort of work on straightening that right leg. It's entirely up to you. It's your body, it's your practice. You need to remain within your own limitations, remain within your own comfort zone as well. So there's plenty that you can do, that you can experiment with, that doesn't involve hurting yourself, stressing the body. We're going to ease our way back up now. Okay, so we're going to turn side on now just so that we can bring the legs closer together. So stepping the legs back towards each other. Then we're going to start again, back of the mat, facing the short edge of the mat. And we're going to go the other way, so I'm going to face this way. So the right toes now turned out to about 45 degrees. Big, bold step forwards with the left foot. Whole thing moved then. And so with your hands on your hips, the hips are facing forwards, are facing the short end of the mat. You can always move your feet to give yourself more space. If you feel like your hips are kind of side on, move your feet around. Take that left foot out to the left side a little bit, maybe re-angle your back foot. You can always take the heel back a little bit further. So bending that left knee. Pushing into the back foot. Make sure that you retain the arch of your back foot. So don't collapse into the arch of the back foot. Keep the little toe in contact with the mat. A little lift in the arch of that back foot. But this right hip moving down and forwards. So strong legs. We're going to inhale and reach the arms up. Palms are going to be facing towards each other, but not touching. So you've got that space across the top of the back of the shoulders. A lift in the center of the chest, length in the back of the neck. And then from there, you can bring your hands back down onto your hips. We'll straighten that left leg. And we're going to move forwards. So Parshvatasana. Coming forwards until you can start to feel the back of that left leg, until the hamstrings start to make themselves known. At which point you have options. You can stop there, stay there. Breathe into it, whatever angle your body might be at, or you can bend the knee slightly and come further forward. It's entirely up to you. You can experiment with both ways. Just with your hands on your hips, just trying to make sure that the hips are still level, even and pointing forwards, so that your right hip isn't kind of creeping back and up. So looking for that horizontal spine. So we're extending forwards, not down towards the floor. And then from there, we'll ease our way back up into a standing position, just coming side on for a moment so that we can bring the legs back together, back to the center of the mat, more or less. We're going to make our way back down to the mat now. So facing the short end of the mat again. We'll bring the palms of the hands together this time, and as you inhale, lifting the hands up. And as you exhale, coming all the way down through the center, folding forwards. You can bend your knees a little bit if you feel that that's an appropriate thing to do. We're going to reach the hands forwards, reaching forward so the palms of the hands come flat to the floor. Once the palms of the hands are flat to the floor, stepping the feet back, keeping the hips high. Taking a few moments in your downward facing dog if that's what you want to do. Otherwise, you can bring your knees down onto the floor. And then either way, we'll bring the knees down. And we're going to come into the Sphinx now. So we'll bring the elbows and the forearms down onto the floor, and we're going to extend our legs back. So the hips come down onto the floor. Tops of the feet flat to the floor. So everything that is in contact with the mat is really consciously in contact. So the tops of the legs, tops of the feet, front of the pelvis, forearms, palms, elbows, almost pressing into the mat. And with that sense of conscious contact, you get a sense of lifting through the spine. So rather than collapsing into the lower back, you're looking at lifting from the pelvis forwards and upwards. If it's still not comfortable for your lower back, a couple of things that you can try. First thing, engage the abdominal muscles, so you create a hammock of support for the lower back. Second thing, if this is not for you, you can lie down. Make a pillow with your hands, take your elbows out to the sides and rest your forehead on the back of your hands. Just check in with your shoulders briefly. Make sure you can move your shoulders a little bit, that they're not stuck. And knowing that they're not stuck, they can be moved back and down a little bit. And then from there, we're going to come down to the floor. So pillow with the hands, elbows out to the sides, forehead to the back of the hands. And you can rock your hips a little bit from side to side. While we're here, we're going to have a little bit of a look at some lower back strengthening Shalabhasana, locust posture. So keeping the front of the hips, the front of the pelvis in contact with the mat, you can keep your arms where they are. We're going to lift the right leg off of the floor. So you're not lifting the right hip off of the floor, you're lifting the right leg. The leg is straight in the knee and you're extending back as if someone's pulling you backwards through your right big toe. So again, you get that sense of length and extension rather than lifting and contraction. And then we'll bring that right leg back down. You might find that it feels a little bit longer than the left leg. So same with the left leg. Lifting that left leg up. Again, we're not lifting the hip up. The hip stays down. Lifting that left leg, but it's more a pulling back feeling. So it's like someone's attached a bit of string to your big toe and then pulling you backwards. That sense of length and extension. And then you can bring that left leg down and hopefully your legs will be more or less the same length again. So with your hands underneath your shoulders, we're going to come back through all fours and we're going to come into a seated position now. So taking your feet to one side or bringing your legs through, however you feel comfortable to. We'll bring the legs out in front and we're going to take a seated twist. So we'll bring the left leg in, left foot's going to come flat onto the floor. Now here you have a couple of options. So option number one, left foot flat on the floor. We're going to wrap the right arm around that left leg and come into our twist here. So this feels quite comfortable. So this is the twist that's mainly focused in the mid and upper back and shoulders. If you want this twist to go down into this hip, then you can take that right foot to the outside of the left leg. And the same again, wrap the right arm around. You might find it's just a matter of holding onto that knee. And this time, as you take your left shoulder back and down, you can take your left hand behind you, either with the fingertips or the palm of the hand to the floor. So deciding which works best for you, where you want your focus to be, whether you're going to have that left foot on the inside or the outside of that right leg. You can turn your head to face forwards and then turn your head to face back, looking back over that left shoulder and then looking forwards again and then looking back. And maybe moving the head, keeping the head moving. Or maybe as you turn your head back to look over that left shoulder, you want to keep it there and just be for a moment static in this seated twist. Lifting up with every inhale. Feeling that expansion with the inhale, whether it's in the belly or whether it's in the lungs and ribs. Full expansion on the inhale. Release and twist on the exhale. And then you can turn your head so that you're facing forwards again. If you're not already, you can release your arms and unravel your twist. You can extend that left leg out in front of you. Just roll your feet from side to side. And then the same on the other side. So we're bending the right leg in now. The left leg is straight out in front. The toes are going to remain pointing up towards the ceiling the whole time. So don't let the foot kind of fall asleep. Keep it alert and awake. So with your right leg towards you, you can bring your left arm around. Is that right? Yes. And then you can decide whether you're going to have your foot on the inside of the leg or whether you're going to take it to the outside of that left leg. So I would recommend that you do the same variation on this side as you did on the other side, just to keep things kind of fairly even. So wrapping your, what is that, left arm around your right leg. You might find it's just a hand to the knee. You might be able to get your arm all the way around. Once you're there, just roll your right shoulder back and down a few times, and you can take that right hand behind you, either fingertips or palm of the hand. And then turning your head one way and then the other way. So noticing what happens as you turn your head slowly and consciously to look back over the shoulder. And then as you look forwards, and then deciding whether you want to continue this movement, whether you want to keep moving the head, or whether you want to keep it in one position or the other. Or halfway between the two is okay as well. And once you're there and you're settled, you're physically fairly comfortable, making sure that you can breathe fully and deeply. Feeling with every inhale, expansion in the back of the ribs, in the lungs, maybe expansion in the belly. Really inflating the whole body with every inhale. Releasing and relaxing on the exhale. And then you can turn your head so that you're facing forwards again. We're going to release our twist and release that right leg. Out in front again, just rolling the feet from side to side a little bit. And we're going to come into a forward bend. So this forward bend, this Paschimottanasana, is again going to have lots of options. So option number one, you have your feet together, have your feet apart. Whatever is most comfortable. Option, or half, or hip width, maybe a little bit, whatever is best for you. Option number two, thinking about the angle of the pelvis. So if you're sort of prone to sitting back into your tailbone a little bit and your pelvis is pointing slightly up and back, you might benefit from sitting on a yoga block or a folded blanket or something like that, that you can sit kind of right on the edge of, so that it just catches your sitting bones, but you can sort of drop the pelvis forwards and down. So that's the angle that you're looking at for the pelvis. And if that is just completely impossible and not going to happen in your world, the best thing to do is to bend your knees, bring your feet flat onto the floor. So wherever you are with your forward bend, let's reach the arms up over the head. And extending forwards and forwards and forwards. So we're thinking about the hinging in the hips, first of all. So whether you've got your legs straight out in front, or whether you've got your knees bent, it's this hinging motion in the hips that we're looking for first of all. So the back actually stays straight. You keep that sense of length and extension as you come forwards. And then once you're forwards as far as you're going to go here, whether you've got your knees bent or your knees straight, you can release your hands down onto the floor, either side of your legs. Or you might find that you can reach your toes. I'm not a fan of holding the toes or the feet because there's always that temptation to pull with the arms. So I would prefer hands on the floor, either side of the legs. And then seeing what you can do to relax into this forward bend. So it might be a matter of dropping the chin towards the chest. It might be a matter that you've come this far and you've realized that actually your hamstrings are a bit tight for this and it's not terribly comfortable. Bend the knees. Take the hamstrings out of the equation so that you can soften into your forward bend there. So wherever you are with this forward bend, thinking about, again, the breath as it travels through the back of the ribs, the back of the body. Long, deep breaths. Again, controlling that exhale. So a nice deep inhale and then a controlled long exhale. And then from there, we're going to inhale, look, lift your head, look forwards, and easing your way back up into your sitting position. We're going to keep the hands moving back now, bending the knees as you go, so the feet come flat to the floor, and you lie yourself down on your back. Back to where we started at the beginning. But before we finish, we're going to cross the right ankle over the left knee. So it's not the knee over the knee, it's the ankle over the knee. And with this right hand, just easing that right knee away from you. So a bit of space, taking that right knee away from you a little bit. And just starting to move the legs a little bit from side to side here. Seeing how that feels. Rolling the legs from side to side. If you get to a point that feels really nice and you want to stay there, stay there. If the movement is good, keep with the movement. If you want something more static and a bit deeper into the hip, excuse me, you can lift your left foot off the floor. So you've got this triangle of your right leg and your left thigh. Your right arm is going to go through that triangle, right hand through the triangle to interlink the fingers on the back of the left thigh. And if that's not entirely possible, you can always pop that yoga block or book or something underneath the left foot so it's just a little bit lifted off of the floor, but not all the way. So either way, just think about the length in the back of the neck. So if anything, chin moving slightly down towards the chest. And length in the lower back as well. So the lower back, the tail. And then you can release that left leg and bring the left foot back onto the floor if it's not there already, and bring that right foot down as well. We're going to swap the legs over. So crossing the left ankle now over the right knee. So the ankle over the right knee. And things to think about here is what the angle of that left foot. So if it's kind of relaxing there and just chilling out with the toes pointing away, this is all quite a nice relaxed way to do this posture. What you'll find is if you point the toes, flex that foot. So the toes are pointing up towards the ceiling. It's a little bit more active, shall we say, in that left hip. So we're rolling the legs to start with. Rolling from side to side. Seeing how that goes. Maybe small movement, maybe big movement. Just kind of massaging the back of the pelvis and the sacrum a little bit. And then if you want to go a little bit deeper into that left hip, you can pick your right foot up. So you've got this triangle of legs in front of you, and you can reach your left hand through your legs and interlink the fingers on the back of the right thigh. So the left hand goes through the legs and interlinking the fingers on the back of the right thigh. And this is where really the angle of the foot comes into itself. So you'll notice what happens if you relax the foot and point the toes. And then if you flex the foot and extend into the heel, what a difference that makes in the hip. Again, length in the back of the neck, length in the lower back. Softness in the jaw and around your face. Make sure you're not building tension around the jaw, the face, the tongue. And then you can release that right foot back down onto the floor if it's not there already, and you can bring the left foot down as well. So just walking the feet now a little bit closer in towards the hips with length in the back of the neck. We're going to push into the feet, lifting the hips off, lifting the hips up towards the ceiling, and then rolling back down again. So keeping your arms down by your sides, your hands face down on the mat, rolling up and down. So pushing into the feet, angling the pelvis up towards the floor, lifting up and off, and then rolling back down. And just taking a few times, lifting up and off, and then rolling back down again. And then rolling back down to the mat. And we're going to bring the knees towards the armpits. So wide knees, rocking a little bit from side to side. And then from here, we're going to come into our relaxation. So you might find that you want to grab a blanket, a jumper, a pair of socks, a cushion, a pillow, whatever it might be that you need for your relaxation, or you might be happy just to lie flat on your mat and make yourself comfortable there. So take a moment to get whatever you need. Hopefully you don't have to go too far. Make sure that you're going to be warm enough and that you're not going to be disturbed for the next 10-15 minutes. So you might prefer to be lying on the floor with your legs straight out along the floor. If that's comfortable for your legs and your lower back, then you can have your feet about shoulder width apart, a little bit wider than hip width apart, toes out to the sides, arms out to either side, palms of the hands turned out. If that's not entirely comfortable for your lower back, you might prefer to bend the knees, bringing the feet flat onto the floor, keeping the feet fairly wide so that you can lean your knees in towards each other so the knees are touching. So that's particularly useful if you are prone to tension in your sacrum and your lower back and the back of the pelvis. And if you've got cushions, pillows, or a yoga bolster nearby, you might want to have a yoga bolster to support that bend in the knees underneath the backs of the thighs. Either having your knees together, or if you've got support, you could have your knees apart and your heels together. So you can have your arms down by your sides, or you can have your hands resting lightly on your lower abdomen. Once you're there, give yourself a moment to settle into the idea of being still. And once you're settled into that stillness, deciding whether you are really comfortable or whether there's anything that you can do to make yourself just a tiny bit more comfortable. And then once you're settled and you're comfortable, really, really comfortable, bringing your awareness to your breath, noticing the normal, natural flowing breath as it comes in and as it goes out. And noticing all the little details of that breath. So noticing that the breath that comes in is a little bit cooler, the breath that goes out is a little bit warmer. You can notice that change of temperature on the skin, just underneath the nostrils, around the outside of the nostrils, the upper lip. So drawing your focus, your awareness to that area of the nostrils and the upper lip. Observing the touch of the breath as it comes in, as it goes out. As it draws the fine hairs on the upper lip and inside the nostrils in and out with each breath. Noticing the places where one breath turns into the next breath, where the inhale becomes exhale and where the exhale turns back into an inhale. Those turning points of the breath at the top of the inhale and at the bottom of the exhale. And then taking all of that conscious awareness to a point in the center of the forehead. And you can imagine like a little shining light in the center of the forehead. Noticing any sensations that might be present in that place in the center of the forehead. And from the center of the forehead, taking that awareness down to the base of the throat, the little dip between the collarbones. And from there over into the left shoulder. And down that left arm to the elbow and the wrist. The back of the hand and the palm of the hand. And the very tip of the left hand thumb and the index finger, middle finger, the ring finger and the little finger of the left hand. And coming back up through the wrist, the elbow, and the left shoulder to the base of the throat. Again, that little dip between the collarbones. And then into the right shoulder. And all the way down that right arm to the elbow and the wrist. The back of the hand and the palm of the hand. And the very tip of the right hand thumb, the index finger, the middle finger, the ring finger and the little finger. Back up through the wrist, the elbow and the right shoulder to the base of the throat, that little dip between the collarbones, and from there down to the center of the chest. From the center of the chest over to the left side of the chest, the left lung. And then the right side of the chest, the right side of the chest and the right lung. Then back to the center of the chest, and from the center of the chest moving down to the belly button, the navel. And then down to the center of the pelvic floor, the perineum. And over into the left hip. Moving that awareness down the left leg from the hip to the knee to the ankle, the top of the foot, and the sole of the left foot, and the big toe, second toe, third toe, fourth toe, and the little toe of the left foot. And then coming back up through the ankle, the knee, and the hip, to the center of the pelvic floor again, or the perineum, and into the right hip. From there and all the way down that right leg, from the hip to the knee, and from the knee to the ankle. Top of the foot, the sole of the foot, the big toe, second toe, third toe, fourth toe, and the little toe. of the right foot. Coming back up through the ankle, the knee, and the hip to the perineum, the center of the pelvic floor. And then up and back from there to the sacrum, where the lower spine meets the back of the pelvis, and allowing the lower spine, the back of the pelvis, to soften a little bit, as if the bones themselves are becoming a little bit soft, a little bit sponge-like. And with that sense of softness, a sense of spreading, opening, releasing, a little bit of space, opening up between all of those bones at the lower back and the back of the pelvis. And allowing that sense of softness and spaciousness to travel up through each of the vertebrae of the spine, so up into the lower back and the mid back, moving up between the shoulder blades, all the way up the back of the neck until you reach the top of the spine, and where the top of the spine meets the base of the skull. That sense of softness and spaciousness just settling into the base of the skull. And even into the brain itself. And bringing that sense of awareness back to the center of the forehead. And settling down into the center of the chest. So the center of the chest, the hridayam, the heart space. Yoga, chitta vritti nirodha. The yoga is the stilling, the calming, or the stilling or the calming of the fluctuations of the mind stuff. When the mind stuff is stilled, then the seer can reside in his or her own true nature, the true self, which is said to reside in the heart space, deep in the lotus of the heart, in the cave of the heart. So just allowing your awareness to rest, to sit in that steady and comfortable place in the center of the chest.
So you can gradually think about returning your awareness to your breath, coming in and going out. If you feel like you're not quite ready yet, you can stay as you are for as long as you want to. But if you're ready to start lengthening and deepening the breath and allowing in a little bit more movement into the breath again, you might find that you're ready to make some small movements with the fingers and the toes, maybe the tongue around the inside of the mouth. And perhaps when you feel ready to, having a bit of a stretch, taking your arms up over your head, bringing your knees towards your chest, rocking a little bit from side to side, just in your own time, as you feel is appropriate for you right now in this moment. And then possibly, potentially at some point, coming back up into a seated position. So thank you very much for being here. Carry on. Tat tat. Oh,